Hey there everyone, this is Impact, and this time I won't be giving away any tips, playing, or rather feeding as puppy support. I decided to edit a video with my thoughts on the current state of supporting in Season 4, and more specifically, the state of Thresh. It has been a highly discussed topic recently, and since I don't actually write articles for any website, I decided to go for video form. But anyway, let's start off with the current supporting state. I had a blast supporting in Season 2 and Season 3. Being in a 2v2 lane instead of a 1v1 completely changes the dynamics of the game and makes you realize that communication is a huge part of League before you even get to the mid game. The learning process never ceases, and the more you learn about how each matchup and how the lane mechanics work, the more you get into the game. There were a few issues though. Very limited champion pool as well as summoner spell choice, very low income, and your main job would be to ward, not to make plays. And then along comes Season 4. At the beginning I was skeptical, to be honest with you. I didn't really think supports needed the extra gold income, and I honestly still don't. The war limitations per player would allow us support players to work on our build even with no increased source of income. It will allow us to spend time making plays instead of preventing the enemy team from doing just that, and it would allow us to rely completely on our ability to analyze the game and use our champion's kit to their full potential. Still, new gold items came out, and I absolutely love them. They allow me to play the way that I want to play. I feel like I'm not playing an underpowered role, and with that being said, the new items also gave players the possibility to pick whatever they pleased for the bottom lane. A support player's champion pool has increased by a ridiculous amount in this latest season, although I'd say it has its ups and downs. I would say that it's arguably the most versatile of all roles now. You pick whatever you want to pick, choose the build path that will suit you, and you can do whatever you please, even build damage and carry the game for yourself. Being in a 2v2 lane also gives you some room for innovation and unorthodox picks. Countering a 2v2 lane is much harder than a 1v1, and the dynamics of the lane often switch at level 6, meaning you only have to play somewhat passive until then if you don't know what you're doing. I don't really think it's all positive though. By having such an enormous champion pool to choose from, there are two things that I believe were sort of forgotten about. First, the last true support was released a year ago, and we still haven't heard about a new one since. We do have a lot of supports to choose from, but none of them really fit the true support field that a Nami, Thresh, or Leona may give you. If you enjoy playing the role simply because you enjoy helping your team, it has been around 1 year since you last got a champion that would fit you. Supports are supposed to be useful, not walking glass cannons. I do understand that dealing damage is just fun, but is it really what supports are meant to do? I'll get to that soon enough. The summoner spell choice is also vastly expanded now. Heal is back, just like Exhaust, Ignite has always been there, and it's still a viable choice. Maybe we'll even get to see support LeBlanc's running Teleport and Ignite now, who knows. It brings more versatility to the bottom lane. You are allowed to play the way you want to play. You have the room for adaptation and for playmaking, and I don't think anyone can complain about that. The latest rune changes were also rather welcome in my opinion. I do feel like sustained supports were being sort of left out with the amount of tanky all-in types of support with high tank stats. They could delete a sustained support in an instance even before level 6 was reached, and I believe the latest patch was a step in the right direction in that regard. You can now be tankier at level 1, meaning people won't burst you down so easily. While taking a sustained support bottom lane may still be risky, it's definitely not a death sentence anymore. And speaking of death sentence, let's talk about Thresh. If you guys have been on Reddit recently, you may know that Thresh has been a rather discussed topic, just like Lee Sin was. Their kits are toxic and too OP. There are several things wrong about this statement, so I'll just lay it down for you guys. Thresh has been picked up more than any other support in the competitive scene, if I'm not mistaken. People say that it can't be nerfed and it doesn't have counterplay. So let me address these issues first. Every single support champion has a key skill in his or her arsenal. If Leona misses a Zenith Blade, she loses the chance to go in, and she does open a window for counter engage. She still has her Shield of Daybreak, but the range is incredibly small. If Blitzcrank misses his Rocket Grab, the same thing applies even though he has his knockup, just like Nami's Aqua Prison. What I'm saying here is that Thresh is also one of those characters. His key skill is Death Sentence. If you miss a Death Sentence lane, your enemies have around 20 seconds early on to do whatever they please. You still have your Flying Lantern, but you will get harassed. So there is a counterplay for Thresh, of course there is. Even if you only end up being zoned out, that's CS that your AD carry is missing out just because you missed a hook. Oh, And here's the list of champions that do well against them. Alistar, Janna, Lulu, Zyra, Karma, Morgana, and the list goes on and on. Thresh is not as strong in the early game as people think it is. You simply need to understand how he works and how you can take advantage of him. As for Thresh being nerfed, the only thing that you need to do in order to make him unplayable is nerf his base armor. Thresh needs to go in melee range in order to be effective. If he can't withstand the damage, then he will be useless. But do we really want that to happen? Here's the thing. Everyone got too used to being able to build damage and items in bottom lane. Most people think a support's power comes from his build now. And I'm sorry to say this, but that is just plain wrong. A support is useful, for lack of a better word. You should be able to rely on your kit alone in order to be effective. A support is not supposed to be dealing damage and taking everything the enemies throw at you. You're supposed to peel, engage, disengage, create pickoffs, and that is why a support's kit is so damn important. Thresh is not the problem here. The rest of the pure support champions are the problem. Let's not forget that League of Legends is a game, and why do we play games? To have fun. Thresh isn't fun because he is OP, Thresh is fun because his kit is incredibly well designed, and it makes you feel like you're having an effect on the game just like every support should. Lulu just got nerfed again because people decided to start taking her mid and top. Her W was given an AP ratio that would further increase the movement speed percentage granted. Why? Here's how I think Lulu would work incredibly well. Increase her glitter lance range, reduce her AP ratios of both Q and E, and increase the shield that it gives allies. Done. She's now fun to play and there would be no reason to take her elsewhere. Even non-support players pick Thresh when they have to go bottom. He's the example of the perfect support kit. Support should be made useful and fun to play. Make them relevant, not because of their stats and scaling, but because of their kit. We all play video games to have fun, and Thresh, quite frankly, is just the support with the best design in the game, which allows players to have fun while playing him. Yes, nerfing Thresh would be easier than buffing and changing everyone else. The problem is that everyone else will be boring and picked up not for their utility, but for scalings. I for one enjoy the versatility of the bottom lane, and I don't want to see it become a second mid lane. Before I finish, I just wanted to throw this out there. I'm not trying to force my opinion on anyone. I'm simply laying out my thought process and telling you guys what I think about. Well, whatever. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you think he's OP? Let me know in the comment section down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you have anything you'd like to ask me, feel free to use my Facebook page, Twitter, or even stream chat. And I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.